Everyone, Zeddy here again with yet another mini set card review. It's the last day of it. We have 4 more classes to go over today. We're going to take a look at this video at Shaman and Rogue. Shaman has one of the best cards I think Shaman has ever got. I think it's utterly busted. And while Rogue got cards, do they cost mana? We will find out. And if you want to win these cards, we have a giveaway going on for 4 mini sets out of my pocket. All you have to do is like and comment on the video in the description below, the one we're looking at. Be subscribed to the channel if we hit 64,000 subs by next week or like in a couple days. It's not going to happen, but regardless, hit that sub button, make me go broke. I'll add another mini set to the giveaway is what I was trying to say. And starting off with the Shaman cards, we have, oh man, they got some good stuff, or at least one card is utterly busted. I think it's going to get nerfed. I really do. First, we have Cold Storage. 1 mana. This is Marabi, kind of. Freeze a minion, Frost Spell, add a copy of it to your hand. So Marabi, back in the day, was a 6 mana 4/4 legendary that basically if you froze a minion, you would add a copy of it to your hand. So it didn't even freeze a minion. You had to do work extra for it for a 6 mana 4/4. Now for 1 mana, you just freeze a minion by itself, add a copy of it to your hand. That could be friendly. That could be an enemy minion. I don't know how good that is. It's pretty good value, and freezing stuff can be very powerful. I think it probably could see play. And yeah, like in Wild, you could play Shudderwalk and freeze your own Shudderwalk and get another one, right? Like, oh my goodness, that's a 10 mana play you absolutely can do. Probably overkill, but regardless, it might get you extra pieces, another Toxfin in Wild, another Dirty Rat, another card. Like there's plenty of options for how this can be busted in Wild and in Standard, just getting value, getting another Null, which is going to be even more busted for the last 2 months it's in Ladder. When we take a look at the last card, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 in Standard and Wild. I don't think it's busted, but I think it's a decent value card that can slot into multiple archetypes in both formats. I don't see why it wouldn't see play necessarily, but I can also see why you wouldn't want to run it. It has to be in a very kind of specific deck. Next, we have the Frostfin Chomper, a 3 mana 2/3 elemental Murloc, so not the best stats. But Battle Cry, if you played an elemental last turn, you summon 3 1/1 Murlocs, and they are Chillgills. Oh, it's so cute. Chillgills, adorable. And then yeah, you have a 3 mana 2/3 plus another 3/3 in stats. That's a 5/6 overall, and they're all Murlocs. So the Chillgills are not elementals, but this is an elemental Murloc for whatever reason. I don't know what breeding program goes on in the Hearthstone Warcraft world, but here we are. And yeah, it's decent in a Murloc deck, but you have to play an elemental, right? It's like, what deck is this going into right now? There are good elementals, don't get me wrong, in Shaman and all of that. I just no idea what deck this goes into. I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 in Standard and Wild. Like, it's an okay card. You get some board presence, you can buff them up, do shenanigans, but maybe it's good with like the I can't remember the name of it, the legendary that just came out, Rotgill maybe it's called, where you know it buffs up the board. This is like a bunch of tokens you could buff up. You could Bloodlust. It's got utility. I just don't see what it's slotting into right now. I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 in Standard and Wild, but I don't know if that like wide like Murloc deck is like valid and you have enough elementals and you just don't have to rely just like on amalgams or the mistake card, you're probably looking all right. And well, here's the busted card. Here's the busted card, Blazing Transmutation. This is a 1 mana spell for Shaman. It's a fire spell, which is pretty rare for Shaman. Choose a minion, discover one that costs 1 more to transform into. So you don't really low roll your Null anymore, right? Null is a 10 drop. You can get Thaddeus. You can get, I'm looking into this. I'm asking the devs about this because the evolve pool excludes Neptulon. You can't evolve or devolve into it, but this is a discover. I don't know if this like factors in the evolve pool. Leo has not yet, he's trying to find out from other devs, but if you can evolve into Neptulon on turn 2 with a Null, look out. This is just absolutely busted. But regardless, with Null, the Goldshire Null that you can play on turn 2 with the coin, in Standard, you can reliably high roll your 10 drop, but it's not even just that. It's choose a minion. a minion. That means you can target your opponent's minion. Say they have a big death rattle on the board. You can turn it into something else. It'll probably be an annoying, expensive minion, but it's like a pseudo silence. This card is utility up the wazoo, and it's incredibly busted right now with that Goldshire Knoll. And in Wild, you could play it in Evolved Shaman. I think the utility of it, and also just, yeah, if it can evolve it in Epsilon, that is terrifying. I hope that they had the foresight to make sure that it only includes Evolve pool stuff, but who knows? I don't know yet. Regardless, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 in Standard. Evolved Shaman's already like a tier 1, tier 2 deck. This just puts it over the top in my opinion, and in Wild, I'll give it a 4 where those strategies aren't quite as prevalent, but they're there, and it could be really good. This is a card I could easily see going to like 2 mana or something like that at some point. I do think it is absolutely busted. As a further follow-up, Gallon, one of the devs on the team, has said here in regards to the Blazing Transmutation card, it shouldn't summon Epsilon. There's a bit of a different technical difference with it being a Discover, but the gameplay of this is closer to a random evolve effect rather than add to hand Discover. Our current philosophy is Colossals can be randomly generated to hand, but on board. I'm still gonna give this card a huge mark. I still think it's absolutely busted, but if Epsilon can't be summoned, at least that should be a little bit more healthy, but I still think it's like a 5-star card. And next we have the Rogue card, starting off with, of course, it doesn't cost mana, Ransack, a 0 mana spell. And I, by the way, I made that mana comment before I even saw the cards, the way I kind of record these. Deal 1 damage to a minion. So that's 0 mana, deal 1. That's all right. Can't go face. That's very important. If you played another card, or you played a card from another class this turn, deal 4 instead. So this is for like Burgle decks. If you're just playing like, I guess Jackpot, you could just play a 0 mana deal 4, just Reconnaissance, Death Rattle minion, whatever you want. It's a flexible little removal. Rogue's not really struggling with removal. Maybe you throw this into Thief Rogue and all of that. Feels kind of low impact, but 0 mana deal 4, I mean, that's pretty good. 0 mana deal 1 is okay. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 in Standard, 2 out of 5 in Wild. I don't think the Burgle decks are probably playing this. You already have Vendetta in Wild, which is like 0 mana deal 4 without having to play a card that turn. You just have to be holding one, and that doesn't see like realistic play in Wild. Doesn't like the meme decks and all of that. I'll give it 2 out of 5 in Wild, 3 out of 5 in Standard. But yeah, nothing too scary yet. At least for me, I'm always dreading the Rogue cards these days. Next we have Stitched Creation, a 3 mana 1/1 undead, and they're like, which keyword should we give it? And then they chose all of them. So we have combo, gain +2/+2. So if you combo this, it's a 3 mana 3/3. Not great. Infuse +2. So you have 2 minions die. That's a +3/+3. So if you combo it, that's +5/+5. Or Mana Thirst 8, you're on 8 mana, you get another +4/+4. So combine all that together, you have 5, 9, a 3 mana 10/10 for Rogue. Broken, right? I don't know. You combo and infuse it. That's probably your most reliable thing to happen early in Wild, where you have like patches. A little bit more reliable to infuse that quickly. And then you're looking at a 3 mana 6/6, which is pretty darn absurd. It's not quite Edwin, but this one really hard to evaluate, but it's only really playable, in my opinion, if you hit both combo and infuse. Yes, you could hit infuse and get a 3 mana 4/4. That's okay, but this is today's game. Like, right, that's not going to do anything. They already had like that combo Yeti for 3 mana 4/5. Saw like 0 play. You'd absolutely have to hit both, and it's probably not good enough. I think the Mana Thirst is basically irrelevant. You're playing Rogue. You don't care about 8 mana in almost any deck archetype outside of like, I guess Thief Rogue plays Scabs, but at that point in the game, I don't think you care about playing one giant minion, but maybe it's there. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 in Standard, a 2 out of 5 in Wild. I could see the same play. If this is consistent enough, combo infuse, that's a lot of stats and rather obnoxious. So I'm not going to write it completely off, but it's not super terrifying. And then the last card for you Wild players, you're going to love it. Jolly Roger, a new pirate for Pirate Rogue, because it hasn't been good enough. It's a 1 mana 1/3 undead pirate, the second ever 1 mana 1/3 pirate, the first being the mistake that we showed not that long ago, the Amalgam. After your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 undead pirate. So pretty good in, you know, Weapon Rogue, because you attacking, you get another 1/1. You get board presence. It works with your ship's cannon in Wild. I'm thinking Wild because I don't think Pirate Rogue's going to go over the top in Standard. But, I mean, you play it on 1, you dagger on 2. You have a 1-mana 1/3 and a 1/1. Like, it's kind of like old Patches in a little bit of a way, but way worse. That's how busted Patches is. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 in Standard, just because maybe it's a good enough 1-drop you just throw on curve to help fight, you know, the board and weapon up and all of that. It's like, it's a premium statted double tribal minion with a really good upside, an incredibly good arena card too. And in Wild, I'll give it a 4. I think it will slot into those Pirate Rogue decks, but it's really tight, the 1-drops they run, but it might just make the cut. Maybe it's better than a 3/1 that goes face, but that's also a 3/1 that goes face. I don't know, we'll see, but I'll give it a 4 in Wild. So those are the Shaman and Rogue cards. The Shaman ones looked really good. Rogue looks pretty strong, but nothing too Zeddy ranty, I think. And then we have the last 2 classes later, which I believe are Druid and Warlock. Those are the last cards, so tune in a couple of hours. We'll have our final review. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.